This is Richard Thorndike with BS News for this, the first full day of spring 2011. And away we go. Dateline, the shores of Tripoli. In Libya, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi remained defiant as cruise missile strikes landed near his tent. By the way, having cruise missiles narrowly miss your tent is actually one of the few military situations in which it may help to be delusional. Dateline, Luna ticks. Skywatchers were delighted by this weekend's supermoon. The full moon appeared 14% larger than normal. The effect is due to the moon being closer to the Earth than usual in its elliptical orbit. Though, interestingly, Bill O'Reilly has no explanation whatsoever for it. Dateline, broken down in the median. A project by the National Geographic Society concluded that a 28-year-old Chinese man is statistically the most average person on Earth. And everyone below that average is who you end up with on Match.com. Dateline, criminal profile, lactic. Police in Malaysia have arrested 6 men who stole a shipment of 700,000 condoms. Authorities have been on the lookout for a group of thieves who were described as bold, daring, and self-confident to the point of delusion. Finally, Dateline, the Lush Boat. Royal Caribbean Cruise Line has rolled out a new all-you-can-drink cruise where customers get unlimited alcohol for just $29 per day. The company figures they can cut costs by not bothering to have this particular cruise even leave the dock. That's all there is. Next up, summertime. Richard Thorndike, BS News. Have a great week.
We must stop the terror. I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
Oh, for Pete's sake. Now, let's look. President Bush wanted to start a war with Saddam Hussein over something that he said Saddam Hussein would do in the future or did in the past, like 20 years ago. And it took him a year and a half to bamboozle people into believing that Iraq had something to do with 9/11 until the president was forced to admit after we were in there.
We've had no evidence that Saddam Hussein was involved with the September the 11th.
Oh, yeah. Now, in this case, what you have is, and you can be for this or against it. I mean, there are people that just don't ever want to get involved. And then there are people that always want to get involved, especially when they see genocide. And there are people that, have different layers in between of where and when they'd like to get involved. Of course, I will tell you, the international community only gets involved when there's something in it for them, business-wise, financially, okay? And the French have been trading with Libya aircraft and other things. You've got all these oil companies in Libya now that you can thank Bush for as well. Bush actually in 2006 praised Muammar Gaddafi as Muammar Gaddafi's regime was just about to fall apart from international sanctions that had been in place since the 90s, since the 80s for terrorist activity. I mean, this guy was a guy who had bombed the U.S. Embassy, had bombed a German discotheque, and had taken down an airliner, a Pan Am airliner, Flight 103, over Scotland at the time he attacked it. Now, that guy had international sanctions put on him. The whole world was, not able to do anything with him. They isolated him, and he was about to see his regime crumble. Under all these sanctions, he convinces W to go out there and tell the world that somehow he was secretly building a nuclear bomb, and he would give that up.